So let's remember Barack Obama's great environmental record. I don't know if you remember that, but he did open up, he did reverse decades-old rules that said you couldn't export fossil fuels. And so that's why we have pipelines underneath the country, right? Because he got rid of those rules, and now you can export fracked gas and oil around the world. Also, his Arctic policy was fantastic. That's from Reuters. Here's why Obama is approving Arctic drilling again. So I know you don't know this because nobody's paying attention when Barack Obama was president, and no one making it, and the Democrats didn't talk about it, and the Republicans aren't going to be pissed off about it because they want this. So when you have a Democrat in charge and they do stuff like this, no one cares. The whole fucking country went to sleep, except for a handful of people. And so, but now everybody's awake because now everybody's like, oh, Trump administration slated to roll back offshore oil drilling safety regulations. That Trump. It's corporatism. It's corporatism. It's money in politics. The Trump administration is slated to roll back safety regulations for offshore drilling that were implemented after the 2010 Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, which killed 11 people and caused the most devastating oil spill in the United States history. The Interior Department, led by Secretary Ryan Zinke, is considering a proposal that would scrap the Obama-era regulations for blowout preventers, which are intended to prevent explosions in undersea oil and gas wells. Wow. Environmental groups widely oppose the rollback of the rules. The Center for Biological Diversity said reversing offshore safety rules isn't just deregulation, it's willful ignorance. So there you go. Oh, it's so horrible. It is. But it's our corporate government that's doing it. There was Barack Obama doing it. Now here's Trump doing it. What do you, any thoughts?
Well, I think you're right. I'm so sorry. I think you're right, Jimmy, about the whole idea of, you can do a search engine on Obama expanding offshore drilling. You can find it and you're like just horrified.
Yeah.
And it's the same headlines that we're seeing for Trump now. So when you go, what do you think? It's horrible. It's awful. I think also Obama was pro-fracking, didn't have much of a problem with that.
He let it play out in North Dakota. That was his official policy.
And allowed Native Americans to be brutalized.
He's going to allow corporations and state-hired thugs to brutalize protesters at the behest of a corporation, and the corporation that wants to pollute their water.
And pretend these water protectors are terrorists.
Yeah, both sides. Remember, Barack? Both sides have to kind of relax. Both sides. People trying to protect their clean water against a polluter corporation. They both sides. What are you? Well, I know what you are. You're a tool. Barack Obama's a buffoon.
Well, yeah, when you have two parties that are both bought by oil and gas, one party is presumably more subtle than the other, although sometimes that's not even the case. I mean, this is pretty much a model for the type of quote-unquote protections we can expect to see. Wait for a disaster to happen. Do common sense protections to hopefully prevent a disaster from happening again. And then once the public forgets, do away with those protections entirely.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues. I mean, this is just, and people aren't given an option to vote against stuff.
You couldn't vote against this.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't vote against this. You vote for Barack Obama. You vote for the corporate Democrats. They open the Arctic to drilling. They repealed the rules that didn't allow United States corporations to export fossil fuel. Barack Obama got rid of that rule. That's why there's pipelines everywhere now. There's no way to vote against it. There's no way to vote against more war. I mean, if you vote for the two main parties, if you voted Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, there's no way to vote against any of that stuff. Hillary Clinton, fracking is the bridge to the new whatever. She wants to export fracking all around the world. I mean, it's just horrible. And we now know, because of Josh Fox, I know, that fracking's actually worse for the environment than coal or oil because of, I mean, as far as global warming, because it releases methane, which traps more heat. So,
and you're messing with water. I mean, that's what, like, anyone with a science background that you talk to, they're just like, yeah, water, yeah, you don't mess with that. You don't mess with water.
Man, okay, well, there's your two-party duopoly. Handing off the baton. No, you go fuck the environment. No, you go fuck the environment. You go. You go. And we keep voting each party back in, and they keep effing the environment. Each party. Now you go do the bidding of the fossil fuel industry. Now you go do the bidding of the Don't forget that Barack Obama went and slept like a baby while there were people being doused with water at sub-freezing temperatures. And he went to bed that night. And he could have stopped it like that, and he didn't. And he went to bed that night and slept. And there are people out there literally freezing, being watered down in the middle of the night. And what were they doing? Standing up to a fossil fuel company that they didn't want them to pollute their water. Barack Obama went to bed, slept like a baby. And then he went over to Italy and blamed the voters. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Then he went over to Italy and blamed the voters. It's your fault. The voters' fault. That's why we got Trump. Not the guy who presided over 8 years of bullshit, corporatism. Sold us a right-wing healthcare plan and tried to pretend that it was socialism. Leaves out 30 million people. Anyway, please make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you February 16th at a live Jimmy Dore show in Burbank, California. Thanks for your support.